All right. So I talked about in a couple of videos back about how the rhetoric and the narratives are going to change when Biden comes in. And I think we're beginning to see a beginning of the solidification of this new rhetoric. And we're using the word nuance. We see Vosh here saying, yes, it's very bad what's going on in camps. And that he's opening these camps back up and all this, and that, ICE is bad and everything else. But look at these pictures that they have, they have these learning built, these places where, they have books and where they're learning about stuff. That they support transgenders and separating between these different groups. Oh my goodness. And we see that Vosh is now doubling down. And he's kind of reversing the pedals here a bit on open borders. He's saying that open borders would not be a great idea right now because it would destroy the economy. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. I think that's funny. I do think it's funny. No alternative power structures. Like I say, there was for so long under Trump this idea that, well, we need to create alternative power structures and alternative systems, or parallel structures, I believe was the term that a lot of lefties talked about, even Beau the Fifth Column. Those are not being mentioned anymore. They're not being mentioned anymore. People like Beau the Fifth Column are following the line, saying that, well, Biden may not have been right to, I don't know if it was right for him to bomb them, but apparently all the Iranian-backed groups, they all just do what Iran says, which I was listening to Constantine's commentary, the war report earlier. I think it's true that they are not all just drones that completely listen to Iran all the time. It's just, that's the whole thing. I think speaking about nuance, I think this is something that has persisted for a long time that I think there does need to be nuance on, is the idea that because a group gets paid by the United States, that they completely 100% agree with what the U.S. does or anything else like that. It's like, yeah, they get their money, but they also have their own beliefs. It just, it takes, dare I say it and sound more like a lefty, but it takes away their autonomy, and that they are, it makes them seem like they are just pawns of the system. I think it's more complicated than that. But beyond that, we're seeing this rhetoric now from Vosh arguing with this. I always love when he argues with this chat and says these 13-year-olds, this and that. My open borders, this and that. The open borders argument is now going out the window, or it's deferred. We'll put it that way, is that now this open borders argument is deferred. We're not going to talk about it. Poo, poo, poo. We're not going to talk about it anymore, which is hilarious to me. It is. It is hilarious. I think that we're seeing beginnings of this change of rhetoric, and you're going to have more solidification. The idea of turning Biden left is not going to happen, but we're going to still support him because, it's very interesting to think. I think back, and this is more me being a boomer, but I remember especially Obama's second term and watching Jon Stewart become more and more disillusioned with Obama. And like I say, by that point, Jon Stewart was putting on a lot of folks and he was basically a vehicle for other comedic folks to come on, like I say, Samantha Bee, and of course Colbert Report and all that. that was the time that it was in. He was there to basically, Asif Manvi and all these types of folks who later went on to do their own stuff. And you know, what's his name? Jamie, not Jamie Oliver. Sorry, I know that's another British guy, but the Oliver guy and all that. So all these folks that were being put on, and the disillusionment that had happened in that second term. And I think that you know it's interesting to see the shift happening. Right now, of course, people are still in damage control mode. They're like, well, just because Biden did these things, it's not good. But we've dealt with this for centuries. We've dealt with this for hundreds of years. So, let's calm down a little bit. He's just, first step. Eventually, we're going to change these things. And I think that is that's the rhetoric that they want to play right now. I think that it's a mistake, but that's my opinion. I feel like this is the changing attitude that exists. Is that they will smear, like I say, you can feel what you want to about Jimmy Dore, but they will smear him and everything, but they'll say, well, Biden didn't do, his, just because he did those things doesn't mean we completely support him and everything. The narratives are very in general, I think that, the narratives are, it's like, well, he's not perfect, but, and I think we see more of this, well, neither, the parties aren't the same, but, and once again, when you hear the word nuance, it means less resistance. That's what nuance means to me. Nuance means we're not going to make as many rant videos against Joe Biden as we did against Donald Trump. To me, that goes to show how hypocritical you are. There's plenty of things to criticize Joe Biden about. But the fact that you are going to say, yeah, that wasn't a good move, and that's it. Like I say, when you understand this whole thing and you claim to be someone who's a true leftist versus all the other leftists on Twitter or wherever else, when you do that, you set yourself apart, and you further alienate yourself. Now, of course, you create the image of being the true guy versus everyone else being a cringe loser or something like that. But it also makes you much more vulnerable, as the British would say. It's just silly. It's just silly in terms of how this goes. It goes to show that we're still going to be, that we've limited these things. The attacks aren't going to be as numerous, in terms of the Antifa folks and all that. As far as I know, the Proud Boys, I mean, who knows? They're probably on their way out. Patriot Prayer as well, to a point. I'm sure that they, it just depends on where that narrative goes. According to, like as I said before, I'm repeating myself, but those folks are going to go somewhere else. Whereas everyone else gonna, like I say, it's just it's a rotating crap game of where you're going to go politically. It's like, I'm still racist. Where can I join? What group can I join that, that I can hide behind that, will protect me? That's really what it is, like I say, the narratives are getting messy though. Honestly, I'm just kind of, as you can tell, the air has been let out, and I've kind of ran out my time. The energy is out of me. It's kind of like, the air is coming out of the tires. Like, oh my goodness. So I think I've pretty much spent my time And now I'm just repeating myself as we boomers do, as we old folks do. So once again, as always, I'm going to try to do this at the end of the videos now. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Whatever, whatever, you know, information you can glean from this, any sort of, you know, reflection you can take on this, I hope you do. And as always, I welcome your comments and, any sort of concerns that you have or any sort of, well, I don't think you're completely right. And that's, once again, I am perfectly okay with that. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoy that. See you later. Goodbye.